Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? Veronica Berrigan here. Thank you so much for being part of my webinar. Today is Webinar Wednesday, and we are going to be talking about some juicy things, which include maximal follow-up. So as long as you guys can hear me, can I just do the quick drill here to make sure you guys can hear me? I want to make sure I'm not talking to the wall over here. Although this is recorded, you can always watch the replay, but I see that we have our attendees here. Can you just say hi over here on our chat box so that I know that you guys can hear me perfectly well and that you are seeing my funky screen right now. You should be seeing it looks like layers and layers of a screen. Hey, Sandy. Hopefully Greg's there with you. Tell him I said hi. Myron, hello. You are on a whole day of learning for today. I'm pretty sure after today your brain is going to be fried. Thank you guys for being part of this webinar, and thank you for investing in your business by learning, right? Sometimes there's even books that I've had where I read them like the second or third time, and that's when it finally starts to click. And I call that when the student is ready, you know, the teacher will appear. It may seem like it's the same teacher over and over, but this could be the webinar that will help you put things together. Because let me tell you guys, real estate, we focus a lot on lead generation. We focus a lot on contacts. But let me tell you where the money is, guys. It is in follow-up. If you have no follow-up systems, then you, my dear, are going to burn out on lead generation because it's not working and you're not noticing that really what the problem is in the follow-up systems. So thank you guys for being here. And today we're going to discuss just that. So I'll go over the PowerPoint. I'll actually expand it. So that's the only thing that you're going to be looking on my platform here. And if you have any questions, of course, like always, feel free to plug them in right here. I'll be checking back and forth. I also do have my cell phone right next to me this time. The other webinar, I left it on the side over there and I didn't even notice some text messages coming through. But if you have any questions, you know, you can text me, you can chat on here, and I will be glad to answer them. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with our presentation today. All right. So maximal follow-up. Here we go. Okay. So I always talk about real estate being 80% mindset, 20% action. And the reason I say that is because I truly do believe that if we get our mindset in order, then we can absolutely make things happen in our physical existence. And so one of the things that you all need to know as the marketers, as business owners, is that most marketing and lead generation activities are long-term ROI, return on investment, right? Do you have the resources, time, and money to give it the time needed for the return on investment? I'll give you a perfect example, which today we're going to talk about. Farming and being the go-to professional in a particular neighborhood, right? It does not happen overnight. If you were to do traditional mail campaigns or door knocking, and I've interviewed and I've sat through panels of the best, and with the traditional way of marketing to your farm, twice a month, doing a mail out. You know, realtors who have done this for years and years can tell us that it's going to take about 6 months before you start really seeing some traction and picking up market share. Thankfully, in today's world, we also now have the digital way to actually get our message across, which will speed up time, right? Which I'll get into as we progress. But in the end, if you understand that the return of investment is a long-term relationship, then you will learn to take the emotional aspect of feeling rejected, of feeling like that open house lead didn't Why isn't that open house lead pulling the trigger? You know, why is that online lead not pulling the trigger? Why am I not working with them now? It's not personal. It's basically, that is the cycle of a buyer and seller. You know, buyers, it is said that they start looking 6 to 9 months before they're actually ready. So they go to the internet, 97% of them, and do a bunch of research. And maybe they are giving you their contact info. But guess what? They're barely in the very beginning stages. So we got to remind ourselves that we are buying houses. We are not buying shoes, although there are some very expensive shoes out there that could cost as much as a house. But we are making big time financial investment decisions. And so you need to learn to track all of this so that you leave the emotions aside and you understand that in the end, it's about return on investment. It's long term. It's about using systems, which we're going to talk about today, that will help you convert that lead once it is ready to actually pull the trigger. So just remind yourself consistently that the return on investment is going to be long term on these marketing activities and lead gen activities. So here's a nice little chart that I pulled on the progression of a sale. And if you look at it right here, and this is why I keep saying, you know, only 12% of agents follow up with the lead more than 3 times, you know, and then they wonder what the heck is happening, right? So when you look at this graph, it talks to you about contact number 1. So you found a prospect or a lead at an open house, an online lead, not a referral, because to me a referral, those are really strong. That's almost like a for sure, you know, it's kind of just showing them your value and they're going to hire you probably. But let's say this is a cold lead that you've generated yourself. Contact number 1, 43% of salespeople right here have given up. So that means that they call the lead. Let's say you met them at open house and now you follow up with them and they're like, well, we're not ready yet. So this is where people start giving up. They're like, all right, well, they're not ready, so who cares? So I'm, first of all, as a realtor, I don't have a database. So they're going on a Post-it somewhere. And so there's no way for me to remember to follow up with them. Now, if you use technology, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time just on your database, you put them in the database. And even though they said they're not ready, now you put them in a strategic campaign to keep in touch, even if it's inbox. And why is that important, guys? Because emailing and email content, which we talked about today in today's workshop, doesn't cost you a dime. And there's numbers out there that say that for every dollar invested in email marketing, you really will equate that to more of your time, right? If you're paying for a database, of course you can calculate those costs in there. But when you're using the VAC, Virtual Access Center, which I'm going to go into a little bit, basically it's free to you. And so there's no reason why you should not be using it. And that's how you keep in touch. That's how you stay fresh of mind. That's how you stay in their inbox, even if they don't open it. So most realtors or more salespeople will by this point give up. Contact number 2, 68% of salespeople have given up completely. Contact number 3, 80% of salespeople have given up. Contact number 4, this is what we call the low-hanging fruit. This is where it's harvested. This is where it starts to turn into a client if you have kept the momentum. This is especially true, guys, for leads such as expireds and FSBOs, for sale by owners. Why? Because they need to build a relationship of trust with you through all of these touches before they give up and say, I can't do this. And you're the only guy or woman who has stayed in touch with me. So this is where the low-hanging fruit is harvested. This is where we actually start turning into conversions. And then contact number 5, you're really getting to know the prospect and their needs, because these 4 times it was probably a sales call where you're providing some kind of valuable educational piece. You're not calling to say, do you need any real estate services? And that's your call. You're calling them specifically with some item of value. Either you're offering something of value or you're providing education. What's the best education to give your leads? Market trends information. You, as a realtor, have the power of the beautiful MLS. That gives you ability to go into the MLS, research what is happening in their neighborhood, what just got listed, what just got sold, what just went off the market. This is valuable information that you can actually share with the consumer and in turn, turn it into a sales call. So you're never doing a sales call. You're really providing information and then capturing the lead. So only until contact number 5 is when you really start to get to know their needs. Contact number 6 is you're the only one to make 6 contacts. So you're now living in euphoria because no one is competing with you at that very high level. And then contact number 7 is you now own mind share as a default choice when the prospect is ready. So you see, it takes 7 contacts, and this is on a general sales industry. It's not specific to real estate, but it is very common based on numbers we have tracked as well. So this is when they actually become a customer and they said, this guy or woman stuck with me through it all, and now I'm actually ready to start working and engaging. Now, what happens between contact 1 and contact 7? That's what we're going to talk about today. What do each of the contacts actually symbolize? How do I contact them, and what methods of delivery can I use? So I'll be going over that right now, as well as organizational. How am I going to stay on track with this? How can I leverage technology to remind me of when I need to get in touch with people? So let's go to the next slide. So any questions right now at all? Let me just go check really quick to make sure I have no questions. Any questions at all? All right, we're good. I think. Let's keep going. All right. So the key to success is staying consistent with your touches. That's it, guys. Yes, lead generation is important, but follow-up is where the money is. So it's both in delivery and in look. So if you are going to be a mail marketer, that's your delivery method. Then that's what you want to stay consistent, as well as your look. This morning we talked about branding, how important that is, how that builds a perception with the consumer that you are the go-to person, even if you're a brand new agent, guys. And so the look, what I mean by that is either you have a slogan or you have a call to action that is consistent. Perhaps you're using the same colors, perhaps you're using your own, the same picture, but you're not selling yourself. You're providing something educational that has the same feel and the same vibe that will remind your consumer that you are that person. You are that professional that they want to talk to sell or buy a home. So picking these pieces and choosing your delivery method can be a little daunting. I'm going to be going over a whole farming calendar where I'll be talking about all the different ways you can touch people. From this class, what I want you to do is not do every way, not do all the different ways that we can lead generate or all the different ways that we can contact people. More than anything, I want you to pick one well and then grow your business plan by adding more and more things. This will make a little bit more sense as I get to that particular calendar. So the rules of the lead follow-up, guys. In this month, I'm doing a whole class just on expireds. I'm doing a whole class just on FSBOs. In those 2 webinars, guys, that we're going to be doing the rest of the month, I will get into conversations. I will get into how to close them. I will get into what items of value to actually give them to turn them into a client, a customer. But today, I just really want to focus on the systems that will help you stay organized and following up, because that's where the money is. So rule number 1 is lead follow-up is an appointment booking process. What do I mean by that, guys? Typically, when we're following up right away, let's say we're focusing on a for sale by owner or an open house lead, right? So us as agents, what we do is that we get on the phone or we text or we email, whatever our systems are, and we're already looking into the future. We're looking, a year down the road when we've already sold their home, our sign was on there. That's great for visualization. But you have to understand, when a lead is a lead, your number 1 goal and purpose is to get an appointment. That's it. I need a person-to-person appointment, because that's when you're going to be at your strongest. You don't do comparative market analysis with them on the phone. You don't talk about, what you charge on the phone. You set up an appointment. That's your number 1 reason to call. When you're going through the 7 calls or the 7 touches, your only goal is not to land the listing or not to get the buyer to sign a buyer broker agreement. Your number 1 goal is to just get that appointment. Because then guess what? You get the appointment. Now you can prepare. Now you can develop a great presentation, which you should be working on every day anyways on your presentation. And now you're going to be not a new agent. You're going to be an agent that is well prepared. Rule number 2, lead follow-up is also a disqualification process. Many of you, especially if you're a new agent, you get excited about if one lead comes your way or 5 leads come your way. But the follow-up, those 7 calls, they're going to give you a lot of insight as to the motivation of the seller or buyer. Why is this important? Because maybe you are a new agent and you're saying, well, I know I'm not going to disqualify anyone. I'm going to work with everyone. I can tell you that there has been, well, only for me, thankfully, one transaction that I still remember his name. I remember everything about the transaction that literally almost like catapulted me into leaving the whole industry because it was so miserable. What you have to learn to do is understand the motivation of each of your leads. And why is that important? Because there are many people that like to go out there to look at homes for fun, just for fun. You know, they think it's like a TV show. And then there's also a lot of people that know their house is worth $400,000 and they want to sell it for $800,000. There's nothing worse to have than an overpriced listing. You know, you may think, I don't have any listings. I wish I had at least an overpriced one. They will suck the living light out of you. These are what I call energy vampires. This is what will question why you exist in this universe. These are the people that will really challenge you. And so when you're following up 7 times, you yourself learn to know which ones you don't want to work with. And yes, you will get to a point in your career where you can start picking and choosing and saying, I'm going to refer this one out and I'm going to work with this one. So it's a whole disqualification process of which ones you want to focus on, which takes me back to what we're talking about today, which is why it's so important to really focus and have a great follow-up system that keeps you on track. Rule number 3, if you don't reach a prospect, vary your method of contact before you delete the lead. I think this is crucial, guys, because I wish I could tell you that we get a lead and this is the A to Z steps you need to follow in order to actually convert them. But in reality, guys, with these, consistent touches, you start to learn the behaviors of the person, right? And maybe you call them and they don't answer you. And even though you have them on your campaign that says, you're going to call them every week, but let's say next week you're going to try text messages because they didn't call you last week and they do respond to that. Then that's how you want to communicate with them. And if you ever do get them on the phone or on text messaging, ask them, what is your communication style? What is best suited for you? Now we have Facebook messaging, we have Skype, we have a million ways to actually communicate with people. And we have mail, of course, and we have door knocking, we have all of it. So if the lead is not responding to you, then what you need to look at is your value proposition. And number 2, what is the method of delivery? How am I contacting these people? Maybe I'm not speaking the language. Maybe I'm talking to millennials that are always on Snapchat, and that's where I need to communicate with them. So every lead is different, and every lead needs to be treated differently. Rule number 4, a no is as good as a yes. And why is this important, guys? Because even if they tell you no, you can say, okay, thank you so much. I'll put you on my monthly newsletter, which is actually very fun and informative to read, which it is. You can put them on that drip campaign. And please, please do not hesitate to contact me if you know anyone that is looking to sell or buy real estate. So a no is as good as a yes. Even if you put them on an email marketing content campaign, on the bottom of every email, it says unsubscribe. So the worst that's going to happen is that they're going to unsubscribe from your emails. Don't ever unsubscribe someone unless they call you and say unsubscribe me, of course, right? But don't you ever think that you're imposing. So many of us sign up for so many things. We don't read all the emails, but again, it's about being in that inbox. So a no is as good as a yes because they know other people that are looking to buy or sell real estate. I think the best approach with this, guys, is look at the scripts. Key. You're not going to do that exactly every time you talk to every single lead because it's impossible, because conversations lead you to all of a sudden they're talking about, when they built the kitchen island, 20 years ago and how proud they are of it. But at least you'll have some answers to help, or I'm sorry, some responses for any of the challenges or setbacks that they're putting in front of you. So a no is as good as a yes. Rule number 5, determine if they need your services, not if they're just interested. Again, it talks about disqualification. And the only way you're going to gauge this, guys, is if you continue the follow-up. If you continue to stop telling yourself that you are bothering them. They are the ones that walked into your open house. They need you for one reason or another. They're the ones that gave you their email info online. So they need you for a reason or the other. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it. So stop thinking that you're like this pushy salesperson, because you're not. You're basically trying to be the person that figures out what their needs are and then providing them that back. And that takes good listening skills, and that takes good follow-up. Rule number 6, categorize the lead in time frame and commitment level. Now, most of our, especially the virtual access center, which I'm going to show you right now, your database, you can categorize how ready they are to actually buy or sell, right? And how committed they are. And again, you go through the touches and you realize what that is. And the cool thing about the database systems, especially RVAC, is that you can open it up every morning and you can see who are the people that you need to actually talk to today. You know, the ones that are categorized as hot, those that are going to pull the trigger within 30 days. Or maybe it's somebody who only needs to be spoken to once a month. And the systems right now in technology and our database will help you really manage that and get organized with it. So I'll show you that in our next few slides. So thankfully, because of technology, and real estate is a contact sport, but because of technology, the way we can actually connect with our clients or our leads has really been diversified. Number one, I think email marketing, email content marketing is absolutely crucial. It is the number one thing you should be using in your business, which means you have either you're using our preset campaigns to stay in touch based on the variables that we have tracked numbers on. For example, you know, a buyer campaign, the buyer campaign that's in the database in our VAC, you know, keeps in touch every 2 days for like the first couple of weeks, and then every 5 days, and then it goes to 7. I mean, it's a whole built out campaign that when you enter someone into the system, now they get these series of emails, right? Like I said, beyond whatever else you're doing as a business owner, what you are doing is you're building a database, and then the consumer has the opportunity to feel what the experience is like as far as working with you as an agent. And we have hundreds, I mean, seriously, in the resource center, which is our national site, there's another section of just like tabs of just pages of campaigns built for you for FISBOs, for expireds, for online leads, for open house leads, every type of lead that you can imagine. As a new agent, you're probably just going to start very simple. And I always tell my agents, start with this, because what you're doing is you're building your habits, you know. You're going to start with a buyer campaign, a seller campaign, and your sphere of influence. And I'll show you guys that a little bit more in detail as we get to the next slides. But as your business grows, guys, as you start closing transactions, then you're going to have to add a group for past clients. You're also going to have to add a group perhaps for online leads. Maybe you want to create a strategic campaign that stays in touch with for sell by owners, expired. You know, we have all those built in. You can use what we have, or you can start creating your own. One of the most powerful things that I can say about email campaigns is that video is king, and that open rate goes from 11% to 53% if you embed a video in your email versus if you just put text on there. So just keep that in mind. And our VAC system allows you to embed video in your campaign, so it's a no-brainer. Phone. Traditional, right? If somebody gives you their phone number, are you going to call them? Yes. The answer is yes. Let me help you guys. If, especially an online lead, if they give you their phone, you know they're ready to pull the trigger, because online leads are usually, you know, fishing and trying to see what information to get. So the phone is a very powerful way to stay in touch with people. Text. I definitely see that, you know, I think they said like the open rate for text is like 99%, like everybody opens their text, right? And so there are spam laws that protect a text tremendously, especially because there's carriers that actually charge you for the data that you're receiving. So I wouldn't necessarily say I would buy like a list of phone numbers and I'll start texting like crazy. But if I already have leads that gave me their contact info, then why not? Why not 1 week email them, 1 week phone them, and 1 week text them? And I'll show you again how to stay organized with that. Social media interaction has become huge. So if you are comfortable with your personal Facebook page, and you're comfortable with, if you share things that you feel like anybody can see, then you can start adding people, you know, on social media as friends or network, you know, and all of those, instead of now sending them an email, a phone call, or a text, you can like their posts, you can comment on their posts. You don't have to be fake and you comment on stuff that you don't like. It's just basically interaction, and it keeps you on top of mind, and it's free. So it's pretty cool to actually do that. There's also paid ways you can stay in front of social media. Now, if you have an email address, this is what's cool about like Facebook advertising. Let's say you have a list of for sale by owners, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, that has all of their email addresses. You can actually put those email addresses in Excel, upload them to Facebook. Facebook will then find these people if they're using the same email on Facebook, of course. And then you can now, instead of mailing them or calling them or emailing them, what you could do is you could put your ads strategically in front of them. And they are like, why is Myron, once again, in front of me? How the heck do I see Myron all over the place? Well, it's because you're doing now targeted marketing ads to the people in your email system. So your database, you can import that, and instead of staying in touch with them through a mail newsletter, you can now say, go to my site and check out this month's newsletter. And it's people that are already in your database. So social media has really changed the name of the game, and it also costs a lot cheaper. It's just about being strategic on consistency and messaging. Online ads. We have AdWorks. We have a relationship with AdWorks that gives you discounts. Online ads work like AdWorks. I'll give you an example. You can choose where you want to target, zip codes, and you can show people ads based on their behaviors. They handle the whole system. You basically tell them what zip code you want to focus on. This is more of a branding versus lead generation, because what you're doing is these ads are following people around throughout the entire internet. So anything they click on, really. And again, you upload emails, and that's how you stay in touch with the people, or you would just become exposed to zip code if you didn't have database yet. Mails, these have always been used, and that's mail outs or hand delivered campaigns if you want to save money on postage. There are certain neighborhood where you still want to include some type of, I would definitely say that, like with the neighborhood that you're focusing on that maybe is above 500,000, you really want to try to capture everything. As a new agent, you start with one. Maybe you start with your email first, and then you add phone, and then you add phone should always be part of it. I'm sorry, that should always be part of it, and email should always be part of it. Text would be next. Now maybe you're doing paid advertising. Maybe you're now getting into mail. So things start to shift. You start to add things as you go. So today specifically, we're going to look at the follow-up systems on the farm, which is an area you're going to focus on. This is the most important thing of your entire business, the most important component. We're going to look at FSBO and expired follow-up systems that are going to help you convert. Okay, before I get into this, are there any questions at all that I can answer right now? Okay, I think we're good, and I'll carry on. So, as I told all of you, there's different ways to actually connect and stay in touch with your people. With a lot of my agents is the sample farm calendar, and I'm going to open it up a little bit bigger so you guys can actually see it. So we talked about touches. So if you look at this calendar, it really entails what a perfect farm month or a perfect touch system would look like for an agent that's focusing in a specific area. So let's say I was focusing in Sonoran Hills. And I would go look and see what kind of touches I would be able to do. Now you want to stay present in the community as much as possible, right? You're a raging fan, you're promoting everything about the community. System or a follow-up system within a farm area with this. Every Monday, there's follow-up Monday. Things change. I can set myself up on automatic email lists through MLS to tell me what just got listed, what just got sold. But things typically, so I would focus every Monday on figuring out what's happening in the neighborhood that I'm focusing. Then perhaps I'm going to focus on doing 10 just listed calls in my area of focus. Next day, my goal is to do 10 just listed calls in my farm area. Same area. Remember, you guys can send Katie your address. She will pull up 1,500 records around the area. Not all of them have phone numbers, but like I would say like 50 to 60% do. Call people and say 123 ABC Street just got listed. By the way, we know that when it gets listed, another property will get listed, offering a complimentary market analysis of your home. What is your email address so I can send it to you? And so look at the scripts to actually do that. And you're also doing 500 mail out pieces. You know, if your budget on mail outs, you focus on anything to 500 homes in the same area. As you start closing deals, you will start adding more homes because your budget is going to get a little bit bigger. Now, if you're on a budget that's a lender partner or a title company partner that's helping me print, and I'm not going to pay for postage, I'm going to do it myself. So if you're focusing on 500 people, and now you're doing 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, and now you're done with your goals. Number 7, another 10 calls. I'm sorry, on day 7, another just listed, just 10 calls. And also now I'm going to get into technology. I'm going to put offering them a market report, which is basically these are really valuable tools happening in the market for the month, or some type of report. You can pull this data from the MLS, from Cromford Report. There's a lot of places where you can pull information, but now they're getting information that is not offered to them from any of the other sites. And you continue to progress with your week. The following week, you're doing research, open house, because why? Because we want to be present in the community. So that week, I'm not doing a mail out, but maybe I'm planning an open house right here. And now I'm saying I'm identifying the open house. Now I have pre-marketing information. You want to be as close as possible to your farm area. I know it's nearly impossible sometimes if you don't have the listing in there yet, but your goal in a farm should be, I'm going to get a listing in the next 30 days, period. All of these activities, guys, if you as a new agent were calling, you're researching, you're mailing, now you're also doing Facebook ads. I mean, I can tell you that it's going to work. Now, as a new agent, it's overwhelming because you're learning everything else. You're learning the contracts, you're learning everything else. So I'm going to focus on one thing. This is what I talked about. Maybe the only thing I'm going to focus on is choosing my farm strategically, understanding where I'm going to focus. And maybe the only thing I'm going to do out of this entire calendar is actually my open houses. I commit to doing one open house every week, and it's going to be strategically as close as possible to my farm area. And I'm going to take in the system of doing my pre-marketing for the open house, and that's all I'm going to focus on. And then next month when I feel, or in 2 months or in 3 months when I feel comfortable with open houses, now I'm going to add the advertising component of Facebook, because that's where I feel like I can grow the most, right? And then after that, maybe, you know, it's a community where I think mail is going to work, so I'm going to start with mail, because it's going to, and then I'm going to add mail. It's going to cost me a little bit more money to print and to actually mail it out. So that's really where you have to decide. Or calls, you know, calls are free and they're easy, but most people hate calls, right? And most of the time it's because they have nothing valuable to say. And instead, it is a sales call because you're just asking for business. No, you're providing first the value and then you're converting into a client. And there's many agents that just start with calls only. You know, they say, my goal is 20 calls a day or 2 hours of calls a day, because it doesn't cost them anything. So this calendar is all the different ways that you can stay in touch. Now you as an agent have to pick one and learn to maximize it, to systemize it, and learn to build a really good follow-up system on it. And within your farm area, you can say, you know, I'm going to focus on all the for sale by owners in my farm area, or I'm going to focus on all the expireds in my farm area. And then you're now be able to focus and hone down exactly on the touches. Because remember, they got to all have a minimum of 7 and to actually convert them into an actual transaction. It's even more powerful. On my Facebook group page, I'll send it if you guys need it. But these are all the different ways where you actually become a true respected individual within the farming community, or within the community, I'm sorry. So that would be my follow-up system as far as geographic area. I would break out a calendar and I would strategically outline what I was, when I was going to be doing, how I was going to be deliberating. Again, yours could be as simple as open house here, open house on the here, and then now what happens prior to the open house. But these are your goals to create a pathway for then that you can follow. All right, next thing, database. Again, number one important thing if you are running a business. Now with the VAC, what I really love about that is that you can actually code them. So when you log into the VAC, and you go to contact list, right? I don't use the VAC because I don't produce, but I will show you exactly what it looks like. So I have 2 people in here. And as you can see, there's phone numbers, there's groups created, and the last activity when they actually logged in. When I look at this, I see a snapshot. Why do I see a snapshot? Because this class right here is telling me how ready this client is ready to pull the trigger. So for me, if I'm doing follow-up Monday, or research Monday is what I call it too, then I would jump into my database every single Monday, new leads, I'm classifying them, and now I'm seeing, well, the ones I need to focus the most on are A, those are people that are hot, they're ready to buy within 30 days. B, well, I don't have to worry about them too much. I have to set them up on a different, follow-up system. And the way that happens, guys, is when you go to the contact list up here, hit add contact, you put in all of their information up here. You can develop a status even if they're active, but the most important thing is right here, client classification, hot. And you on your systems can develop your own ideology of what this means. To me, hot is somebody who's gonna pull the trigger within 30 days. It's gonna take 30 to 90 days. There's activity, like one of those like make me move from Zillow, unless I get $500,000 for this $200,000 home I'm gonna move, I'll put them there. So there is no like guideline, there's no thing that says this is the way it should be. More than anything, you should develop what each of these categories mean and how you're gonna follow up with them, because now you can log into the VAC and pull up that report and see which ones is that the ones that you need to follow up every single Monday, and which are the ones that you need to follow up every other Monday. And you can take notes and you can leave a lot of information in here so you're knowing what you're doing. Email distribution group is what email follow-up system they're actually going to get from you. Agent, your system has already been set up already, so your groups are on there. So the only thing you have to do is fill this out to the best of your ability, and then classify them, and then decide which email campaign they're going to go on. Remember, I told you guys that we can create also our own campaigns, right? So let me show you right here. It's not showing me. Oh, here we go. One second while I take you guys there. I don't know why it's not giving my campaign. I think they're doing something. There should be a drop-down menu here that says campaign, and it's gone. I have no idea how it got changed to marketing, but I know they're doing some upgrades to the site right now. But these are your preset campaigns in here that you can start assigning people to. And then again, like I said, we can create a custom campaign by clicking down here. The Northwest is honored this month to have all the virtual access center training. One class starts tomorrow. That's the introduction. There's another one in a couple of weeks, and then one at the end of the month that will go into how to create your own campaigns. This is what I'm talking about. You just need your cell phone to start developing video campaigns, and you can use the verbiage. We already have them, and just like read them if you wanted to. But again, that's going to give you higher conversion rates. So maybe we want to start a campaign for online leads or for sell by owners, whatever you want, and then develop items of value that will get them to convert into clients, educational pieces. You can tell it exactly, you know, fixed dates. You can tell it how many days in between you want the emails to go out. You know, there's a lot of information out there on stats and numbers on how many times you have to touch people based on what lead they are in order to convert them. So when you get into personalized campaigns like this, I can definitely help you. At the beginning, you're going to be using what we already have, which is a ton of stuff, as you can see. Not only here, but also in our research center. Our research center, which remember, it's our national site. I can show you where there's a zillion more campaigns as well. And that's over here in leads resource. And as soon as it pulls up, I will show you. And these are campaigns that actually were started by other agents. And so, or used by other agents, I'm sorry. And so we've just shared them and compiled them so that you can use them as well. Okay, give me a second while I find it. Oh no, where is it? Not seller advantage, reports, no. Email. No, this is definitely not it. I'm just trying to go back really quick and see if I can find it for you guys. I know it's in the research center because I just took this class too. Oh, took me to another one. Maybe it's under marketing resource. So let's go under marketing resource. And with these campaigns, they're basically the templates already, so you would just need to copy and paste. This is not where they're at. Things are looking very different. Okay, I'm going to send you a link. These are all the templates that we use, but I'm going to send you a link to see all the different campaigns that are out there. But like I said, there's FSBO, online. I mean, there's like 10 tabs of just different campaigns that you can go back into the resource center, which is in, I'm sorry, into your database, which is in here. And now you just copy and paste, and now you're doing specific campaigns for your people. In the beginning, you guys are all set up for these already. They're ready to rock and roll. There's no reason why you should not be using this. Every 5 days, they're getting an email from you, and then every month they're getting a newsletter from you. So I will find that link for you guys. I have no idea, because even this looks a little bit different right now. This was never under campaigns for me. It was always under here. So I'm not sure what the system is doing right now. But anyhow, there are campaigns in there that are going to help you stay in touch, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to use what's already working. So even that is prettier. All right, so let's keep going. Your database, again, is the most important factor of the entire equation of your business. So make sure you are doing email content marketing. All right, FSBO expireds and follow-up systems. This is where it gets really, really fun. So for me, although I can easily, invest in a really high level technology type of situation, Excel has worked out wonderfully for me. And so when we talk about an area of focus, you're focusing in West Wing, you're focusing in Arrowhead Ranch, you're focusing in Anthem, whatever it is that you're focusing on. What you do is you focus in a particular neighborhood, and you look at the key components of each of that neighborhood, or the players in that neighborhood is what I call them. The title company can provide you this data, or you can research it yourself. So you know exactly where there are the second homeowners, or where there's like tenants and people of that nature, so that you can build a strategic campaign within the areas that you're focusing. In the areas that you're focusing also, there are for sale by owners, which you'll find for sellbyowner.com, Zillow, a lot of different places, right? Even driving by, right? Because for sale by owners really do not market. They don't understand the whole concept of why we do get paid what we get paid, because of the work that we put in. Hired, those are easy, right? You can go in the area or the neighborhood that you're focusing on, and you can go into the MLS and you can pull the expireds for the last year, for the last 2 years. Most agents will only follow up with the recent expireds. You know, they'll call them once. Your house one expired in the last, you know, or 2 months or 1 week, I'm sorry. Then those are the ones that they're calling to try to convert right away. But nobody really takes the time to look at expireds, especially in their area of focus for the last year or for the last 2 years or 3 years, especially if they've never sold it. So yes, it's going to take a little research, but the thing is that you're not going to be focused in all of Maricopa County. You're going to be focused in your specific area of focus, and you're going to be finding people that are already raising their hand, and you're going to put them in a system that will help you follow up. So for me, especially if you know how to work Excel, which is not that hard, by the way. Let me take this off. I created this Excel sheet that I will share with all of you. Tabs based on, you know, the type of lead that it is. For example, for sale by owner, expired, and maybe I'm doing some online marketing leads. Perhaps I also want to add maybe I also want to add open house leads. Open house leads. Okay, we'll just call it that. So to begin with, if I'm focusing in an area in Arrowhead Lakes, you know, there's not going to be 1,000 FSBOs, right? They're probably going to be like a couple. So what I would do as an agent, and I did this for a long time, is I always had 10 to 15 for sale by owners that I knew my sign was going to be in front of their front yard. What I would do is I would put the property address in this nice little Excel sheet, and I just copied and pasted it. Obviously, these would be all of the properties that you're focusing on. I would gather the data, owner name, email if I had it. With for sale by owners, you definitely can get email very easily. Phone number if it's available, of course, and then I would create my follow-up system. So I would have them in here, and then I would put in here exactly what was going to happen with my touches until I converted them into an actual FSBO. I wouldn't do more than 15 at a time because time wouldn't permit it, money wouldn't permit it. You know, there was a lot of different things, right? And so I learned to really focus down and stay in touch so I can convert and then put money back into my marketing. And so maybe what I'm going to do, and this is just an idea of what you guys can do, I'm just giving you ideas. You can do whatever you want. One of the biggest things that you're going to learn and you're going to need to do is decide what is your marketing message and what pieces I'm going to use to stay in touch. So for me, perhaps I have a contact info for the FSBO, and the week 1 is I'm going to call to preview. I'm not going to call and lie to them and say I have a buyer. I'm just going to say I'm an agent that focuses in the area, and now I'm calling to actually preview your home should there be a buyer that's ready to go. And then by that time, you know, I will go and get that appointment, or I may even have their email. Now, I have an awesome packet for FSBOs. I'm going to go over this when we do the whole FSBO class. And this is just ideas, guys. I'll get into it more and more as to what to send out. But I have a whole packet that's called the For Sale by Owner Survival Kit. And what it does is that instead of you trying to sell to the for sale by owner, you're educating them on the process of the sale of a home. You're actually helping them sell it. Why? Because 9 out of 10 relist with an agent. And if you go in there trying to be a shark and land them on a sale and not becoming a person of value, they're gonna shut you off, right? And so we have this, like, it's like a 15-page report that shows them how to sell their home as a FSBO. So what I would do is I would create my own campaign if I'm targeting FSBOs there. And then the first week, I'm only going to send them like the first couple of pages of it. That in itself already gives me content for like 8 weeks that I could send them and drip to them strategically. Then week 2, maybe I'm going to drop by, and now that I have my appointment, I'm actually going to, you know, drop off something of value. There's people that are doing the survival kits, which includes this report that I keep talking to you guys about, as well as any other valuable information. And of course, information about your marketing and why you stand out as an agent, right? And then I'm going to put them on my email campaign. So you see, they're always on your email campaign. You never, ever lose them. As far as activities, your call preview, physical survival, maybe you're going to send a thank you mail out, just a card thanking them for the opportunity to visit their home. And then you're going to follow up with a call. Are you getting my emails? How's everything going? Are you getting any traffic, et cetera, et cetera? How can I help? Week 5, you're probably just going to email. Week 6, text. And week 7, you're going to mail them our 20-step marketing campaign, which we have in our office. And then week 8, you're going to call. And of course, you're not going to stop week 8. If they just stop, you're going to continue and continue. But what you're doing is you're tracking everything that you're doing, and you're not doing it for 40,000 people. You're doing it for a strategic number, so it becomes manageable. So that's for first sale by owners. Expired, same situation. What is the property addresses that I'm focusing on in my area? I can go to the MLS. I can search for expireds in my subdivision, and I can even tell the MLS what days, to look back. So I can pick them strategically and say, these are the ones that are going to have my sign in front of them. Research again, and now we have other marketing campaigns, right? We have expired letters for you all that are available on our marketing side. We have a ton of other things that you can provide. I just gave you some ideas. Week 2, first week, I'm going to visit them with my expired letter. I'm going to knock, and I'm going to show them my expired letter, and if they don't answer, I'm going to drop it off. Week 2, mail expired letter with seller's advantage. That's in our resource center. Week 3, visit expired letter and drop off the marketing plan. Week 4, mail expired letter and seller's advantage. I would always add that expired letter as your cover because it's about consistency and remember and branding. Week 5, week 6, it's giving you a ton of different ideas. You don't have to follow these ideas to a T. What you do have to follow is the fact is that you need to focus on no more than 10 to 15 at a time to actually get them to convert. Once you start growing your business and using more advanced system, then it becomes more manageable, right? To be able to do 30 or 50 or 100 or 500 in your farm area. But it's all about organic growth. That's like a business 101. You don't go out there and open 5 companies. You start with 1 and then you grow out of that. Same thing with these, and especially with your leads, something that is manageable. Online marketing, if you're doing like online lead gens, that's a whole other game, guys. It takes about, triple the time to convert them than you would convert an open house, or you would convert even an expired or for sell by owner, because those people already raised their hand. With an online lead, you have no idea really where they're coming from. So it's going to take more and more time to actually convert them. But this online marketing, what I did is basically, this is what tracks all of my ads that I'm doing online, exactly what platform I'm using to deliver my message. So this is more like an editorial calendar. What data I'm sending out, the message, the visuals that I'm using, item of value, landing page, et cetera, et cetera. If you're doing online lead generation, you have to have its own system by itself. You have to have its own follow-up system. And usually what that entails, not usually, always what it entails is your email follow-up system. And with online leads, it is not incorrect or negative to email them even daily until you get them to convert. That's what the consumer behaviors are showing. Of course, over time, like the big sites that do follow-up campaigns automatically for you, like with an online lead, they'll follow up with them every single day for the first 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, it actually falls down to, I think it's every other day. And then it goes down to, well, in the end, it ends up being anywhere from like 35 to 58 touches a year. So it's a lot more touches, that we can manage. But all of this is, they're actually building campaigns that are relevant to their particular lead. So you don't get a lot of people that opt out or unsubscribe because they took the time to actually build something that they actually want to read. So just a different way to look at things. At the beginning, guys, as new agents, your database, like I said, should be very, very easy. It should be your buyer's campaign, which is preset in the virtual access center. It should be your seller's campaign, which is preset in the virtual access center, and then your sphere of influence. Those people that will always get your newsletter regardless of what happens. So you see how easy with the open house leads it could become. You can use this exact same, but now I'm going to put all my open house leads also in here. I like keeping everything in Excel anyways, as well as my database, just because I can import. And let's say you outgrow, you know, the virtual access center. Now you need more technology. Now you need like something bigger because your database has grown to a point where it just cannot sustain it, right? And you want more of the artificial intelligence or whatever you want, you can export, you know, your list into Excel and now transfer it to any other system. You can also, if you already are keeping track on here, well, of course, and then that'll be easy to actually start a whole new system. But in the end, it's about focusing. Strategically picking 10 homes that are FSBOs, you know, strategically picking 10 homes that are expired, and then developing a system that will help you stay in touch until you convert them into a client. You don't add new expireds, you don't add new FSBOs until you've actually converted one, and now there's a space left for those people that you are marketing to. What this does for you as well is it really helps you understand and experience the marketing cycle of a lead. As a new agent, I think that's crucial so that you understand exactly how it works, and so you understand your own personal numbers. Your numbers are going to get better and better. You know, maybe at the beginning, it's going to take 7 to 10 touches until you convert them. And maybe after a year to 2 years, it goes down to like, you know, 4 touches because of the high level of confidence that now you're exuding based on your experience, right? So all of those things are manageable and changeable. More importantly, it's about you being organized and plugging in the leads and figuring out a way how you're going to stay on top of mind. And you have a million ways to actually stay on top of mind now, as I showed you previously. So any questions on that follow-up system? Does it make sense exactly why follow-up is so important? Okay, no questions. We're good. So this is just another example open house follow-up system. Number one, it always gets entered into your database. Add them to a drip campaign. Week 1, personal note card. Week 1, you're going to call them and thank them. Week 2, you're going to mail out. Week 3, you're going to text them. Week 4, you're going to call them. And week 5, you're going to categorize them in your database as A, which means you're going to talk to them weekly, or B, which could mean, you know, 60 or 30 to 9 days out. Again, you would just populate this in Excel. You plug in all of your sheets or contacts in there, or you can put them in the database and you can log in there into the VAC and see which are the ones that you need to contact. All right, guys, that is Maximal Follow Up for you guys. Any questions at all before we actually end? We finally ended on time. Wow, that is amazing. So I've been speaking very fast today. So any questions at all, guys, before we end our webinar? Oh, I have a raised hand. What does this mean over here? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I had a raised hand and I don't know what I did. Any questions at all? Nope, I think we may be good unless you guys are typing away. I'll give it like 30 more seconds and see if you guys have any questions just in case. Awesome, Myron. Thank you so much for being part of this webinar. Thank you, Sandy and Greg, for being part of this webinar. Appreciate you guys greatly. I will do the replay. I'll post the replay right on our Facebook group page. Again, it's about focusing, guys, being strategic with your focus and not getting overwhelmed by, we want to be #1 realtor in all of Arizona. We don't start there, guys. It starts small. It's business 101. You grow organically and everything else will happen magically. So any other questions, you can reach out to me directly. Keep on doing what you're doing. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you so much. And thank you for always joining the classes as well as Greg. Appreciate you guys greatly. So any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. My joy and pride comes from seeing you guys grow. So continue doing what you're doing. You're doing the right thing. Oh, thanks, Tammy. Tammy was on there as well. Tammy, thank you so much. You're doing an amazing job. All right, guys. Have a very blessed evening. Have a fantastic rest of your week. I'm here to assist with any questions you may have, and I will talk to you all very soon. Bye, guys.